All right, hey guys. So we're gonna go ahead and get started because it's almost 8:10. I'm sure that some people will start to trickle in as we get it popping. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I'm super excited about this. I did this last week and it was a really good turnout, really great. There were some good questions, good comments, and everything. So my name is Bibi Gnagno, and I am the CEO and founder of OMG I Love Your Hair, which is an online platform that I've been curating since 2012. It started off talking about natural hair, how I grew my hair, how I ate at work, what kind of green swamp juice I was drinking, because some of my coworkers were so interested and at times disgusted at what I drank. But when I let them taste, because when people are curious, I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just that they're not used to it. So they would taste the green juice, the green smoothie, and be like, oh my God, this is so great. It looks gross, but it tastes great and it's really good for you. So that's what my platform started off as. It started off as a blog where I just talked about my personal life, and it kind of morphed into something that was a lot more personal, where I started to actually film a documentary on natural hair and also look at my health journey on what has brought me to the point where I'm able to make my own green juice at home and that kind of different stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started and share my screen. I like to make my presentations short and sweet and packed with lots of information. So if you guys have any questions or any comments, hold them for the end of the broadcast and we'll get to them. Because I want to make sure I get you guys in and get you guys out, and so we can get this popping, because I know everybody is busy and we all got things to do. All right, so let this juicy party get started. All right, so you are in class. This is a juice class for beginners. And so I really like this picture. That's green juice on top of my head. If you haven't already noticed, I'm pretty silly and goofy, and I think that life sometimes can be really stressful and really short and really intense, and it's really important for us to have a lot of fun while taking care of business, hence the photo. So my name is Bibi, and I'm also known as the Green Bibi, but I'll tell you guys more about that story later. And I'm really excited that you guys took the time out of your busy schedules to join us for this free class on juicing for beginners. So let's get this juicy party started. So what you're gonna learn today, I'm pretty much gonna teach you what is juice. You think you have no idea. You think you know, but you have no idea. It's not really what you think. Because I think a lot of people, when I tell them how to get healthy, they look at me with big days caught in headlights, reindeer eyes, because they're like, what's juice? How should I juice? What's a green smoothie? What? So I'm going to also share the benefits of juicing with you guys and what it's done in my own personal life and what it's done in people that I've shared my green juice recipe with and how it's ameliorated their lives as well. And I'm also going to share about why you should be drinking that weird looking green stuff. Like, it looks like swamp water, but I promise you it tastes delicious. You can even check out one of my YouTube videos on my channel under Bibi Gnagno or at OMG I Love Your Hair. And I actually give you a free recipe for my swamp water smoothie. And so I think this is going to be part of the class that's really most important, is the fact that you do not need a juicer to make juice. You actually need a blender. And I think it's a very big misconception that people have, which stops them in their tracks. They're like, oh my God, juicers cost like $300, $400. I don't have that money right now. I'm here to tell you, they've been lying to you. You don't need a juicer. You can blend. So you'll learn that. And then also, lastly, we're going to touch about how you can start juicing no matter where you are in your health journey. So let's get started. So first, allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Bibi. So I'm going to go over 5 cool facts about myself. I grew up in West Africa for 10 years. My dad is actually from a country in West Africa called Ivory Coast, or in another language, Côte d'Ivoire. And my mom is from the States. So I grew up there for 10 years. I used to like the smell of gasoline. Yeah, that's why I said 5 cool facts about me. I also just completed a Fulbright Clinton Scholar fellowship in West Africa, where I work for the Ministry of Justice. Another cool fact about me is I once made a salad from scratch in the span of 10 minutes in a law school classroom. Yeah, we could talk about that later. I'm really good at making salads really, really fast when I want to stay healthy. And also, last cool fact, I sneak healthy food into the library. I know there's no eating and no drinks, but I kind of do it. It's kind of cool, and nobody's ever caught me, so don't tell nobody. So let's continue. I guess let's start a little bit with my story. And it's so interesting to me that when I look at pictures like this of me sitting in front of that beautiful, wonderful, ooey gooey lasagna that I was having in Paris at the time, I used to be a junk food addict. And I didn't really see it as that, but I really used to be a junk food addict. So if you knew me in high school, or if you asked anyone who knew me in high school or college, they would tell you, number one, that I love to eat. And number two, my places to eat that were my favorite were Five Guys, hamburgers, IHOP when they used to have free pancake day, and Jack in the Box, which is a chain restaurant that serves like tacos and burgers on the West Coast. And I used to love a good Chinese buffet. And so that's pretty much what my life was. I was raised in a household where I wasn't allowed to eat red meat, but that didn't change the fact that when I went out and I was on my own, coming back from high school or going out to hang out with friends, I ate whatever I pleased because my mom didn't allow me to eat that kind of food in the house, but I took it upon myself to rebel and eat that kind of food because it tasted good. And also I have to point out that I didn't grow up eating that kind of food. I grew up eating rice, or I grew up eating mashed potatoes or African sauce because, like I said in the 5 cool facts about me, I grew up in West Africa. So the diet that I have is not necessarily reflective of the diet that I had when I grew up. When I came to the United States, it was like land of the plenty, land of everything. You want a cookie? At midnight, you can have a cookie. You want a burger? You can have a burger. So it was like I became a junk food addict. And I really didn't think of myself as a junk food addict because I didn't look like a junk food addict. I wasn't fat. I wasn't overweight. I didn't have diabetes. I didn't have hypertension. I didn't exhibit any of the signs that made me look like someone who was addicted to junk food. And I don't think that would have changed if I didn't end up getting sick. And that's what happened after I moved to Atlanta after graduation with 2 of my really good friends. And I ended up going to the doctor because I started noticing when I would go to the bathroom, there'd be blood. So every time I wiped and I went to the bathroom to do a number 2, there'd be blood. And so I was like, okay, God, I have cancer. I'm just not going to tell anyone. And I'm going to go to the doctor and they're going to confirm that I have colon cancer and that my life is over. And so I went to the doctor and she checked me out and I described all the symptoms. And she told me that I had hemorrhoids. I was so embarrassed. I was like, number one, hemorrhoids is for old people. I'm young and sexy and doing it. How did I get this condition? And the scarier part to me was when the doctor told me that if I didn't change the way that I ate, because that's mostly in part of how a lot of Americans start to develop hemorrhoids or anything that has to do with your digestive system, is because of the food that you eat. And so I had continued with eating the way that I ate in high school and college, eating turkey burgers at midnight, eating cheese fries with my best friend. And so that's what brought me to the point of where I was at that point. And the doctor told me that I need surgery if I didn't change the way that I ate and improve my condition. And so I remember kind of sitting in my car, leaving the doctor's office and sitting in my car because I had taken off of work to go to the doctor, and sitting there and crying because I was just like, I don't want anybody to open up my body and have surgery. At that time, I was 22 and I was young, and I was like, I can take care of this. I should have enough control on what goes in my body to be able to heal this on my own. And I'm sure that with the internet, I can figure this out. And I truly believe that once you get surgery, sometimes it can lead to further complications down the line if you don't change the lifestyle that got you sick in the first place. So when I was sitting in that car, bawling my eyes out, calling my mom and asking her like what I should do, I made the decision to choose to do something different. I think that not that I think, I know. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. So for me, I had to choose to do something different. So I left the doctor's office, I called my mom, and that's when I went to buy my first blender. And I really like this quote that I've added at the end, let food be thy medicine, because that's what I had to learn to do. And going from being a junk food addict to a juice junkie was a journey. It wasn't overnight. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later on in the course. So I also want to talk about the fact that it was really hard in the beginning. I remember being straight out of college, being in a city that I loved, going out to eat, but I couldn't eat the way that my friends ate anymore, because if I didn't have enough fiber in my diet, or if I didn't eat enough fruits and vegetables and things that were filled with nutrients, I would have the same issues again. And it's so interesting because we're always so hard-headed. Like, we change, the condition gets better, and we're like, oh, okay, I'm good. We go back to the same lifestyle habits that got us there in the first place. And so for a couple of months, like, I kind of yo-yoed. I yo-yoed off and on. And then finally, it was like, light bulb. If I do this, then I get this result. If I do that, then I get that result. And so for me, I had to realize that in order to heal myself, I had to figure out my why. My why was that I didn't want to get surgery and I didn't want to end up getting cancer later on in life. And so that's pretty much what supported myself in getting healthy. And I also scoured, I think that's the correct vocabulary word. I also scoured the internet for like any blogs of Black women that look like me, because for me, in order for me to change, I have to see somebody else also doing the same lifestyle change, or having been on that road for a while and that's actually succeeding. So I found a whole lot of blogs, websites that were really supportive. I brought a lot of books and I studied and I literally learned this thing on how to change my eating habits through food, because I wasn't doing drugs and I wasn't doing surgery. And I also learned that you have to be patient and gentle with yourself, because at the end of the day, like I said, I was yo-yoing up and down, going from eating pizza and burgers, and I'm like, okay, I'll just eat vegetables and just eat broccoli every single day. But I had to be patient. I had to be gentle with myself. I had to get creative. What I ended up doing after I bought my first ever blender is actually taking it to work and leaving it in a break room, because I was like, okay, if I'm not about to be eating chicken McMuffins in the morning for breakfast, then I need to make a smoothie. And the only way that I can do that is if I keep frozen fruit in the fridge at work and blend it in the morning. And it was so interesting that when you start on the path to eating healthier, becoming healthier, people start to notice. You don't necessarily have to preach. Your life should be your sermon. And I remember one of the janitors was just like, oh my God, what are you drinking? Let me have some. And people started to like want some of my smoothie. And I actually kind of got salty, like, hey, this is my journey. Like, come on. But it was really encouraging that once I decided to step on the path, other people joined along as well. So let's get into the meat of this. What is juice? So when you look at juice, you think you know, but you have no idea. So I went and like did some intellectual researching, and juice is a noun. It's actually the liquid obtained from or present in a fruit or vegetable, but I'm sure you already knew that. It's the way that you extract the juice from the fruit or vegetable. It's also a verb. So anytime you buy juice at the supermarket, check yourself and really realize that it's not juice you're buying, unless it's cold pressed. Because if you don't realize it, a lot of the juice that we buy, whether it's orange juice, cranberry juice, whatever other juices they have, Twister, the juices that I used to love because of the sweet, sugary stuff, it's actually pasteurized. Pasteurized means that it's been heated over a certain degree, so it kills all the bacteria. But in killing all the bacteria from the juice itself, it also kills the really good stuff, like the enzymes. It kills all the nutrients. So when foods or liquids are heated above a certain temperature, it destroys all the enzymes and the nutrients. The enzymes and the nutrients are what we need for our bodies to actually function at optimum level. So if you're not giving your body the enzymes and nutrients and the energy that it needs to thrive, it's going to start getting sick. And that's what pretty much happened to me. So the difference is when you make juice at home, you are actually ingesting all the nutrients and enzymes directly into your bloodstream. So a lot of people ask me, well, what's the difference between making juice and making a smoothie? I usually suggest smoothies, or if you want to stay full for a longer amount of time, because they contain all the fiber. Like, you're not getting rid of all like the roughage and all that stuff. And so you can have a smoothie if you want to stay full, but it's going to take a lot more time, I think, for your body to detox, because it has to go through digesting all of the fiber. However, on the other hand, when you make fresh juice and you're able to get all those nutrients into your body, your detox goes a lot quicker. And that's why a lot of people do juice cleanses or juice feasting, because your body doesn't have to work as hard to break down all that fiber. And when you start juicing at home, real juice goes bad after 48 hours. The stuff you buy in the supermarket, you can keep that up to a week or two. So maybe that should tell you that's a problem. So when you're making juice, you want to realize that it actually will change colors. And do you guys know why it changes colors? I'm not sure. Maybe you do. It changes colors because of the oxygen. So when the juice is exposed to oxygen, it starts to kind of decompose and go bad. So that's why you're not supposed to drink it after 48 hours. And so I wanted to share some of the benefits of juicing, which I kind of already talked about. It acts as like a detoxifier, especially for your liver. It helps your liver give a rest. So when you eat all the time and when you are eating and using your mouth, your body has to do a lot of work. That's why a lot of times when we're eating a lot of processed foods, we get what people call the itis. You get tired after you finish eating, especially if you ate processed food, because your body has to work so hard to digest all of that food and information that you put into your body. And your liver, which is the detoxifying organ of your body, has to work so much harder. So the benefits of juicing, it gives your body a rest, it gives your liver a rest, so it doesn't have to work as hard, and it can get all the nutrients and enzymes directly into the bloodstream and start detoxifying your body. It also strengthens your immune system, it improves circulation, and it also eases inflammation. Inflammation is the root of pretty much all disease. If you are suffering from inflammation, then you probably should have a detox and start drinking some green juice. So I kind of touched upon this, but we're going to go more into detail about why you should be drinking that weird looking green stuff. So a lot of us, if you're American, because I'm sure there's people from all over the world joining in on this free training, if you are living in the United States, then you probably eat the standard American diet, which is very low in fiber. We ingest a lot of bread, white potato, a lot of flour products, white flour products. And so that doesn't give our body enough fiber. And so we end up having issues going to the bathroom. And when you have issues going to the bathroom, you start to strain. And when you start to strain, then you have problems with your colon. So the standard American diet is heavy in processed foods. So processed foods is anything that has a high level of, it's been cooked a long time. It is very low in nutrition and nutrients and enzymes. And you also have to look at the fact that it's acidic. So a lot of the foods such as, let's see, white potatoes, pasta, red meat, they are very high on the acidic like table. And so you compare that to being alkaline. So your body should be in a state of alkalinity. And so you can kind of tell how alkaline or acidic your body is by when you pee. When you pee, if your pee is really dark yellow, then you're probably not drinking enough water and your food is very processed. An alkaline body is a body that's healthy and that's full of oxygen. Cancer cannot live in a body that's full of oxygen. So you want to have your body be alkaline. So you want to be ingesting a lot of green vegetables, a lot of green fruit. And we're going to talk about why they're green. So alkaline equals no cancer, no disease, and it makes you look sexy and you feel really good. That's why you should be drinking that weird looking green stuff. And I have to laugh because I named this slide, but it's green though. So say it slowly with me. Chlorophyll. Let's say it one more time. Chlorophyll. So chlorophyll is what you guys see on the screen. If you're able to see the screen, it's the green juice, it's the green apple, it's the cucumber. That's what gives plants like the green color. It's oxygen. It's kind of like their blood, and it's actually really, really good for our blood. So that's what makes it green. It's not weird. And so this is like one of the parts that I'm super, super excited about. So I'm probably going to speak really fast. So I'm going to try and slow down. But this is one of the lies that has been perpetuated, I think, by a lot of the healthy community. And I really wish it wasn't, because if you believe that you need a juicer, then you'll never juice or you'll never start juicing. And for me, when I discovered it, when I really started juicing was probably about 3 to 5 years ago when I was in law school. And I didn't have the budget to buy a juicer. Juicers cost $200 to $400 sometimes. And all I had at the time was my trusty old blender that I had from college. And so what I was learning as I was on the path to healing and getting better with my body is that when you are trying to heal yourself, you will be creative and you will find a way to make a way. And so for me, I learned that I can make juice by simply having a blender and a paint strainer. A cheap blender, guys, from Walmart costs $19.99. Like, for real, it's only $20. And a paint strainer, I had never heard about a paint strainer before. I kept hearing about cheesecloth and like all this weird hippie stuff, even though I'm a hippie, but I never knew what that was. And it was really hard for me to find cheesecloth unless I went to Whole Foods, and sometimes I couldn't get there. Instead, I found a paint strainer. A paint strainer is actually what painters use to strain paint. And it costs like $2.50 from Lowe's or Home Depot. And so that was something that I used that was super easy. With my blender, I was able to make fresh juice every other day and keep it moving. And veggies and fruit cost like $10, depending on what you're trying to do. I like to stick to green juice because I get the kale, I get the cucumber, I get the apples, I get the pears, everything that's green and that adds chlorophyll to my body, which oxygenates my body, is what I want to be doing. So you don't need a juicer to make juice. Like, I really want to emphasize that point, because I think a lot of people are definitely on budgets, or sometimes make the excuse not to get healthy. Like, oh, I don't have a juicer, I can't really. No, you're making an excuse. Get your blender and get a paint strainer. So this is what paint strainers actually look like from Lowe's and Home Depot. And these are like the varying sizes, and they're literally like mesh bags that you can find at Lowe's or Home Depot. They range probably, I think, from $1.99 to $2.97, and there's 2 in a pack. So you pretty much use that, blend your stuff up in a blender and strain it through that. Voila, you have juice. So we're going to start to kind of close a little bit. And I want to remind you guys that it's baby steps. Of course, I'm not sure if you guys remember when you started walking. I don't. But like when you first started walking as a baby, you were crawling. You were literally crawling, trying to put your fingers in all the stuff. And they had to baby-proof the house. And you were crawling. And then you started to grab onto stuff and kind of try to stand up. Your knees and legs were kind of wobbly because you never walked before. And you would try and walk, you'd fall flat on your face. You try and walk, you'd fall flat on your face. And you kept doing it until you could do it, but you took baby steps. So I want to remind you guys that when you're starting on the health journey, whatever it is and wherever you are, be gentle and be patient with yourself. These are baby steps. You're going to fall off the wagon. I always do. But I think that what differentiates me from the masses is that I fall flat on my face and I get up and I'm like, okay, well, I had a slice of pizza. Maybe I need to go and make me a gallon of green smoothie and make sure that I start detoxing, and also look at the emotional reasons why it is that I fell off the bandwagon. Because I don't think at times, of course, it's the craving within our bodies that need to be detoxed, but sometimes it is emotional baggage that we're holding on to that makes us eat certain foods and that makes us crave comfort food. So that, I think, is a really big component of eating healthy and staying on the path. And I want you guys to also have a goal. Have a goal and stick to it. I'm not sure if you can see the picture, but this is one of the books that I bought when I was starting to get healthy, and it's Crazy, Sexy, Healthy, I think, by Chris Carr. I can't remember the name right now. But one of my goals that I had, which is dated, I wrote in a book, March 6, 2011. So that was 4 years ago. So like that was about 4 years ago. I said no soda. Every time I want a soda, I will drink water. So that was like my simple goal. I didn't overwhelm with myself and say, oh, I'm going to make a green smoothie every day and I'm about to detox the yin yang out of my liver. No, I had one goal. For me, that was to stop drinking soda. And in order for me to do that, I had to replace it with water, and I had lime water. So don't get overwhelmed. Have a goal and stick to it. Pick what your goal is going to be. I have a goal for September 1st is to do a sugar cleanse. That means I'm not going to eat anything that is filled with sugar. So I'll let you guys know how that happens. And you want to make sure you keep learning and getting support. I started to buy books. I started to rent books from the library. I started to find meetings online that were really positive and really encouraging. One of the first blogs that I followed was Raw Girl in a Toxic World. And she was super positive, super amazing. She was also from Africa. And so she dealt a lot with a lot of the taboos that I dealt with when I was coming up. I was raised in an African family when I was in Africa, of course. And people will look at you crazy if you ate a smoothie for dinner. They'd be like, why aren't you having sauce and rice and meat? So learning to get support is really, really important. And you have to keep learning. So that's also really important. So in terms of getting support, I also am going to be teaching a class that begins on September 1st. It's a Juice for Beginners 3-part masterclass, because I realized when I first started on this journey to juicing, I didn't know what the hell a green juice was, what chlorophyll was. I had no idea what all that stuff was. I had to learn it on my own. I swear I wish I had a juicing BFF that could have taught me all that and I wouldn't have to go through it. But I pretty much created a 3-part masterclass done for you course that's short and sweet. I like short and sweet, to the point, packed with information and action steps to get you from beginner to pro. And we start on September 1st. And so it's going to pretty much be 3 live classes with replays sent directly to your inbox, just in case you can't make it. You're going to get 5 easy to implement videos in bite-sized chunks so you can digest all the information. You can watch it if you're a visual person. You can listen to the MP3 audios as the course is happening if you're on the go person, in your car, on your phone. And then if you're more of like a person who needs to touch, who needs to write, I'm also going to have downloadable PDFs, handouts, a checklist, juicy goals, and the guide to making juice, not war. So you guys want to go ahead and check it out. I also went a little crazy and added a few surprises. I'm also going to be teaching a free course in October, but I have it already prepared. It's called Smoothies for Beginners, because a lot of people like smoothies. And I also added an extra bonus of my new upcoming book, Juice Junkie, which is coming out Black Friday, November 27th. So all that is there for you guys. You want to make sure this is actually old because the people that signed up for this, they got the early bird special. So you want to make sure you go ahead and register. Here's the link. Just type in the link. Actually, I can type in the link later on. It's bit.ly/juicebeginner to check out the program. And so that's pretty much it. So I'm going to be teaching that starting September 1st. I hope you guys join in so you can get support, you can get recipes, you can ask me all the questions and comments that you didn't get to ask during this class. And I hope that this class was really helpful. I hope that I was transparent and shared and answered you guys' questions. So now we're done. So hopefully you guys wrote your questions and comments down because now we're passing to the Q&A section. So I'm going to go ahead and jump back on the broadcast and stop sharing my screen. Okay, so you guys let me know if you have any questions, any comments. Is anyone watching or am I the only one to present start? What? Okay, so people are telling me that they don't see anything, which is very weird, but okay. Let's see. I'm going to try and scroll up to see what's happening. And yeah, so hopefully you guys were able to watch this broadcast. If not, then I'm going to just send out the replay. It was super good and super amazing. So, so yeah, so let me know. I'm going to type in the chat box and see if you guys have any questions or any comments.